I've had mic packs rammed where mic packs don't need to be rammed. And it's fine because they stay without, apart from once where they didn't. And it just looked like I was very slowly giving birth in my tights.
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
The goal isn't to live forever. The goal is to create something that will.
Hey guys, you're listening to Perspective, a podcast for wedding creatives where we sit down together, often with a special guest, and talk about our many years of experience in the wedding industry. Today, we're talking to Claire Digance, aka Claire The Humanist. Just in case you didn't get it from her alias, Claire is in fact a humanist celebrant. We talked to Claire about humanism, the hows, the whys, the wheres, but also how to shoot a great ceremony. Specifically, we're talking about a humanist ceremony, but in general, the terms of our conversation can be applied to all ceremonies all across the board. We get into some really great topics of conversation, some great horror stories, and really great nuggets of advice. So definitely keep listening. But first, what are we drinking?
Oh, God, it's quite early.
Usually it's just coffee, but we don't have any new coffee, so because you are a humanist and you do ceremonies, we thought we'd draw your attention to this little pink bowl here. And this is our quick.
God.
So,
it looks suspiciously like one of those little things you get in a kid's baby set.
I think it might
like
be
a
from
toy
Science.
baby set. Yeah.
We didn't actually have a Quake in the office, so I stole this from my daughter's playset.
Yeah,
so
that looks,
and
your daughter's playset.
What we do have is a Jura, I don't know how to pronounce that, 16-year-old, how would you say that, Greg? Which
Duach.
Consequently, we were gifted, Neil was gifted this.
Right. Our mutual friend.
Our mutual friend, Neil Thomas Douglas, was gifted this by Victoria and Chris.
Oh, our other mutual friends.
I don't know if they know if we have this.
Oh,
do they know?
Do know.
But,
yeah, they will once they hear this.
They will. So, guys, Neil doesn't actually like that. It doesn't generally drink whiskey. So, we do.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much.
You're actually going to put me on the spot with a quake ceremony on a Monday morning out of a pink bowl. God, do I have to go through the whole thing of a quake as an ancient Scottish ceremony?
You don't really.
Because there's not even two handles on that. It's an actual baby.
Well, it's
bowl.
just one handle all the way around.
That ruins the ceremony, doesn't it?
It's meant to be two handles.
Yeah, that's the whole point. You can see both
stab
hands.
Someone.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
You've been to weddings.
You can.
I pay attention.
Okay, you can hold this with one hand, but so I shall go first. If you want to say where this comes from, for people who don't know, who aren't in Scotland.
All right, okay. So a quake is indeed an ancient Celtic ceremony, which was originally designed to symbolise trust between two people. When they first met, they would hold onto the two non-existent handles, and then that way they couldn't have a dagger in their hands at the same time. However, that doesn't quite do away with the idea it could be poisoned, because that doesn't need any hands. And I've never really reconciled that.
That is a very good point.
Is it not a case of both parties drink from it? And
yes,
that
but if you go
it's not poisoned,
first, then you die, wouldn't you? So you just go, you're my guest, here, you have it.
Wait, did that not happen in Outlander?
Dun, 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 the factual Scottish
spoiler
programme.
alert, jeez.
Thanks for that, though. That was delicious.
For you audio listeners who, well, you're all audio listeners, Claire didn't have any because she's driving. She's very responsible. But we are actually drinking coffee, just not a new one from last week.
What is the coffee that you're drinking today?
Another good cartel blend. So it's a Glasgow roaster.
Right here.
You're Glasgow roasters, you know?
So where were you shooting? No, you weren't shooting. Where were you working this weekend if you had a wedding?
Right, okay, so I had two weddings at the weekend. One on Friday at Ingleston in the country club in the Salerno suite, which is very shiny.
Yes.
That's the equestrian centre place. Yeah.
And they've got little tiny horses.
Can you ride them?
Well, I don't know if they weren't looking. Look, they're not the horses, but everyone else. There's a really weird curtain in Ingleston that when it just looks like a wall with a curtain, and you look behind it and there's like a horse.
Yeah,
What
you
the-
look
yeah.
down
I was
on
going to say a horse rink. That's not
A
right.
horse rink.
That would imagine they were skating or
Everybody
something.
knows what you mean by that, though.
Yeah.
Horse rink.
Yeah.
An
Yeah,
indoor
no.
field with hay on
Indoor
it.
field?
No, it's just a
Like a
field that's
dressage
covered.
ring. Is that
Yeah.
it? Or a show jumping ring?
I'm
There we go.
not up with my horsey
God,
terms.
folk are like that. We don't care. Yeah, so Ingleston was lovely. Darcy and Daniel got married and they came up from Warrington to get married. But it was nice because also folk from Englandshire do not have the same references to humanist weddings as we do. And you see them come in and go, oh, God, it's going to be so boring. And then they twig pretty early on that this is not
Yeah.
what they thought it was going to be. And they really enjoy it. They love it.
Yeah.
So is humanism being accepted down there now?
No.
Not yet? No.
No, you can. There are only 11 countries in the world you can have a legal humanist wedding.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
Only 11?
Only 11. We are one of them. England is not one.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday, then it got really exciting. I'm not saying Darcy and Daniel's wedding wasn't really exciting. It was lovely. Then we jumped on a ferry on Friday night. And do you remember the weather on Friday? It was a little bit uppy downy.
It was really rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I headed to Arran with my lovely family and we went to stay in Arran so I could do a wedding in Kildonan on Saturday for Fiona and Chris. And their wedding was a total riot. The hotel's right by the water and the idea had been to be outside, but it was so wet that we
Right.
couldn't be outside. But we could see the seals and we could see the otters that were ottering. I don't know what the word is. Playing.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
playing on rocks.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so cool. And the wedding was just lovely. They were just really funny and lively. And all these people have come on this massive adventure
Yeah.
to Arran. And some of
Yeah.
them have been on the most awful ferry crossing of their life and were a bit kind of green, but they were all staying for the weekend. Fab. Their friends, Raymond and Catherine, sang a song that I'd never heard in my life before, but it contained the line, I will crash through fences for you. And it floored me, absolutely floored me. And I was howling and everyone else was howling and it was just lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Chris cried from the beginning of the wedding right to the end. Wow. Didn't stop. Just sobbed the whole way through.
He's going to love those photographs.
Oh, he's like, probably. Oh, it's a shame.
We shot in the Borders.
Oh, yeah. Where
this
were you
weekend.
this weekend?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
We were down in the Borders in a place, well, it was spread out over a few different towns. It was called Duns was the sort of bigger town where it was mainly set.
And by bigger, you mean it's still very small.
Yeah.
A
But,
village.
There's a couple over from Boston.
Boston, Massachusetts.
Is that exactly how they speak? Like an American
is.
robot?
I'm sorry to listen to this.
Massachusetts.
That was awful.
It was a Church of Scotland wedding, I think.
It was.
In the church? Or,
Yeah, in the church. So small village church with the two aisles down the side sort of thing.
Is that less challenging or more challenging?
More challenging.
Yeah.
Well, we were told that it was going to be a challenge to begin with because videographers and photographers aren't liked. But to be honest, we had no trouble.
Have they met you before?
I think you mean with the minister, reverend guy.
I mean, yes. I mean, like the general rules of the church.
Okay. And
Like-
is that a common problem?
They can be quite strict.
Yes. I think the
So-
the general rules of church are strict. They're written to be strict. But it kind of depends on person to person whether they like you or not.
Oh.
I found it very stressful. At the beginning of the day, obviously I told you during the break there that we started at 9 o'clock, 9:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, which is ridiculously early. But there was supposed to be this time where we weren't kind of doing anything. Obviously an American couple, so they were doing a first look, which isn't that traditional over here. But everything got pushed back, and then they went back to the preps venue to get some more photographs. And when I then looked at the clock, I was like, oh my goodness, it's half an hour to the ceremony and we need to drive there and set up.
Yikes.
And that, which is crazy. So if there was a tactic for talking to priests and any church clergy, is that the right word? Clergy?
Clergy.
Clergy. That's the one.
Soft G, darling. Clergy rhymes with largy.
Clergy. Yeah, we didn't have any tact. We just came straight in, down the driveway, stopped by guests coming off the bus.
Ah,
So I was just like sitting
they
there.
don't have to take you by surprise, guests coming off a bus, don't they?
Oh,
They're just
I
like,
know.
there's nobody and then there's 100 people.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it was mental.
yeah, so normally we try and approach a celebrant with the sort of tactics to try and be like, is there anything like do you have any rules for us or whatever? Because sometimes with churches, you're not allowed past a certain point, or quite often they almost refuse to wear a microphone for us.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, but we need this to get good audio to document this for the couple.
Whereas they maybe think that you're questioning their ability to project their voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good wedding.
It was a lovely wedding.
Couple were lovely. The groom was quite nervous around cameras, I noticed in the morning.
That's natural,
But,
isn't it?
yeah, it's quite natural.
You just notice them.
So usually what we have tended to do to reduce like packaging, what's that called? Prices. When you send them out.
Postage,
that's the one. My goodness. We give them the big box that we would usually save for the end, but we give it right at the beginning.
Right.
And in it there's like whiskey and 2 glasses and a book that has us on the hills looking
Sexy.
Yeah. And usually I give it to the bride, but because he was getting ready at his house and the bride was at a random hotel, we decided to give it to him, and he really appreciated it.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that lovely?
Like,
yeah, it was good wedding on the family's friend's farm. Set up a marquee. They had a old barn next to it as well.
Yeah.
We're working with Mark Pecura, who's a good friend. So yeah, it was all in a good day.
It was cool.
Yeah.
A little bit trippy. They had it in a marquee on a field on a hill.
Oh, so
it wasn't fully leveled.
Yeah.
Like stones.
Twice I missed my footing and landed in a guest.
In a guest?
In a guest. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, Kaylee and that would be amazing.
Yeah, and they had a good Kaylee.
Whoa.
Like 45 minutes long, a good set. And it was fun. Yeah. I think all the Americans appreciate it.
We've actually had another couple of weddings since last time we podcasted, and both of them were Humanist Society Scotland weddings.
Yeah.
Go on then, who was it?
We had Eddie Kennedy and Karen Dixon.
Oh, all good guys.
So you're a humanist.
I am. I am. Would you like to know what that is?
Yeah.
Okay, so I am Claire the Humanist, and I've been a humanist celebrant maybe since 2013. When I started with Humanist Society Scotland, you started doing funerals first, which is an odd way to start a job. You do funerals and then you go and do the weddings and things. But I was a funeral director for years, so it wasn't that difficult a transition. And so I did my funerals, then I did my wedding training, and then since the first wedding I did in 2014, I think I've added them up yesterday, it's just over 300 weddings since then. I know, I'm pretty busy and I love it. So yeah, that's how I ended up doing what I'm doing. It wasn't such a big leap from being a funeral director to standing on the other side of the lectern and then actually being able to be part of really exciting, joyous weddings. Oh, it's the best job ever. It's so much fun. So yeah, the humanist part of it, I think I've always been a humanist. I've always been a big old atheist. And if my mum's listening, she'll be like, oh, God. But I think being a humanist is being comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And then also realising that I'm quite privileged in this country, that I can speak freely about being non-religious, and in other countries that's not the case. So being part of Humanist Society Scotland is being part of a much wider, worldwide movement, a secular movement where we seek to improve the lives of other people that are just like me. You know, they just happen to live somewhere that's not quite so free. And our society has been involved in so many changes locally as well. The Equal Marriage Act, when we were involved in the actual law changing that permitted same-sex marriages, which are now obviously just marriages.
Yeah. So you were part of that process?
No.
Or just reap the benefits?
I would love to say that I was right in there with the decision makers, but my friend Ross was, and he conducted the first same-sex marriage, Joan Malks, at the Trade Halls in Glasgow, and I was there with my friend Phil in his Adidas tracksuit. Oh, God. Yeah, he wouldn't dress up for the occasion, but it was just fabulous being part of it.
Yeah.
And that has had such a knock-on effect to weddings across the board. So, yeah, I'm very lucky. I do a great job. I work for great people, and I'm part of a really brilliant society.
And obviously, I mean, we shoot a lot of humanist ceremonies.
Oh yeah, taking over the world, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. In fact, I recently read a Guardian news article about its upcoming conquering of Scotland.
Yeah, so last year was the first year we did more weddings than there were more humanist weddings than the Church of Scotland, which is amazing. And that's crazy. Only in 11 years, 12 years, something like that. It's not long at all. And we've been doing more than the Catholic Church, I think, for a couple of years, but that just goes to show the changing attitudes in this country and that people are still getting married. When I was at university, it was just not something you did because you could only get married in church, which wasn't relevant, or you could get married in the registry office, which was a bit dull. And then there's now this third way that seems to resonate with people. Yeah. And look at the difference. I mean, people look to us from all over the world to see how to do weddings right, and that's amazing. Yeah. I should say that we're obviously honoured as well to have our work being featured on the homepage. Oh, yes. You make me look good, guys, in my anorak in the middle of the rain. Although I tell you something, see, doing a wedding fair and that's on in the background on non-stop, on a loop. You're like, Twitch. Yeah. But no, I love it. I love that video. There's some really talented people in that video. There's Robert Anthony, Gary Smith, and I know that Caroline Lambie's in there as well. But just looking at the setup for all those weddings, they're just all different. And they're all beautiful and just fab. Yeah. I think you actually make us look a little bit cooler than we possibly are. However, I'll go with that. That's fine. I'll take it. So, going back to like humanism, why do you think it resonates so well with so many people? Well, I think humanist weddings they're kind of two parts to them. First, there's the humanist values that resonate through the whole ceremony. So it's equality, it's respect. People go into these marriages on equal footing, and that's really important. You know, there's a lot of love in the room in a humanist wedding. It's not just getting married. And we take a lot of pride in what we do as well. So we want it to be a good day. We want it to be fun. But I think probably more than that is that the couple are right at the heart of the ceremony. And that's how it should be. There's nothing else. There's not... I don't know if you know this about Scottish weddings, but the couple choose to marry each other. And they say that in the wedding. And that's what gets them married. I'm really just there to facilitate that. So... at that moment where they say that they have accepted each other, and I go, well, that's fine. That's you married. Boom. Yeah. That's it. So it's not being married by someone. Yeah. They are marrying each other. And that's just, gives me goosebumps still thinking about it. It's as simple as that. Like, I love when you guys like separate them off and ask them to fill out questions separately, and then they hear them for the first time what each other has said. I totally love that. I know, and sometimes it gets me as well. I remember Victoria and Chris's, theirs was quite wild. Yeah, in the rain. Yeah, in the rain, in the hills. But do you know what's lovely about an elopement? You can say things to each other you would never dream of saying in a room full of people. Yes. And they did, didn't they? Yes. Yeah. But they're the best weddings because there's so much thought goes into them, and you know that's the most important thing is getting married. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's when we see that it's a humanist ceremony, you instantly know that yes, this couple are like they know what the wedding's all about. It's about them, and always enjoy it more because you get to know the couple. Like we like to get to know our couples sort of before the wedding, but then even more so at the ceremony. You're like, now I know you just that bit more now. That's nice that you're listening though. I was so often I think people are just going, okay, she's off again. We're definitely listening to you going, oh my god, she's doing this again. Tell me about tying the knot, Claire. I was going to say there's 7 points. What is that? Mystery. On your website, it says, we will make your wedding ceremony the very best part of your day. Yes, that's my aim. Yeah. So how can we, as filmmakers and photographers, or any kind of supplier who deals with the ceremony, I think it's kind of those two, right? Or an orchestra, maybe? Everyone loves an orchestra. I just mean an orchestra. I just mean like a little quartet or something. You know, strings, guitars, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. How can we help you create the most amazing ceremony? Well, a lot of the work is already done before you're there, to be honest, because when the couple choose a humanist ceremony, they don't go into it blindly. They know that they're going to have to do this work. They're going to have to answer questions. They're going to have to talk to me about their wedding. Now, I write their wedding for them. They give me the words and I fashion them into a story that suits my dry, sarcastic voice. However, I know other people work differently, and there is always scope for couples to write their own weddings, which is quite a thing. It's also quite challenging when you have everything else going on round about you. But on the day, I think just talking to us and finding out what you want to do, making sure we all work to make it the best. I understand that they've spent squads of money on having brilliant photographs and videos, and I'm just part of a bigger picture. And that's cool. And that's the best bit. Oh, so you make us look good. So if I get on well with you guys, then I get the pictures where I'm looking better than I
never
do.
thought of it like
yeah.
that. Actually.
Yeah, that's a good point. Although, is there any grace? Can we make anyone look graceful being pelted with the rain and the wind?
No.
In somewhere like Glencoe?
No, I don't think you can. I think you can. Neither can you make anyone look graceful when they're talking. Because we all look like trolls when we're talking. This neck problem, I don't know what that is. But yeah, you can do your best. That's all. And the best part about, I think, what we do is if I work with people who love weddings as much as I do, I know it's going to be a good day. Yeah. Because we all have the same goal. I think for too long, ceremonies have been seen as the boring bit. It's just get out of the way.
Yeah.
So it's, I've got to go to whatever, I've got to sit through it. But it's all right because the party's next. I actually want to send people out going, yes! And they're all ready for a party. And you can hear it. You can hear the noise levels in the room when the wedding's finished. And people come up and say how fab they are. Yeah. But for a sort of logistical point of view, just make it easy, that's all. Don't make me fall over you. Done that before. Not you guys.
I was like, I don't remember pushing you over.
No,
what?
No, somebody did once. That didn't go down
So
well.
were they just too close behind you and you didn't know?
They were lying on the floor.
During a ceremony?
During the ceremony, taking photographs.
Wow.
And I don't know what they were doing, but I stepped back and I didn't know they were there. And rather than just go, excuse me, they pushed my calves and sent me flying forward into the father of the groom.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a moment to treasure. That was one of those days.
Top tip for us is don't
push the
lie down
humanist.
and push you.
Yeah, no pushing the celebrants.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, that was a one-off though. I've never had that since. Maybe that'll become a thing.
Maybe
we'll just push Claire. See how far we can get her to go. For like a wee chart on your wall. Third row. What could we do to make your life easier?
Yeah,
pockets.
Pockets.
Shut up about the pockets.
No. Yeah, don't mind us if we put a recorder on you, even if it's, I know it's mega inconvenient.
But that's one of the funny things that I know we've talked about before is where do you make a woman humanist?
Yes, we don't have pockets generally. Yeah. And I'm not going to wear a jacket because I get so just hot.
Get more dresses with pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, or get those wee clip-on mics.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good too. I like them.
Yeah, they're good. Not so good in the wind.
No.
But yeah.
Yeah, they've became, there's little Sony recorders that we've talked about before. They've become quite popular because they can clip on easy. But yeah, sometimes we need to get the safety pins out to the back of the dress.
I don't even bother with safety pins. I've had mic packs rammed where mic packs don't need to be rammed. And it's fine because they stay without, apart from once where they didn't. And it just looked like I was very slowly giving birth in my tights.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Yeah. Well, we started making films like 8 years ago, but we never decided to do that.
No.
The whole leg strap. No. And then some people would make brides and do that. And then, I mean,
that's an interesting way to do it.
Leg strap on the leg, audio recorder, and then the wire all the way up to the chest, and then the mic would sit there. I'm like, no bride would recommend you after that move.
That's quite an intimate way to record something.
It is. It is.
If that was what you were aiming to do and not just be creepy.
Well, as video guys, we're already designated that title of the creepy video guy. You know what I mean?
Creepy video guy.
It's like, yeah.
Is that your preference? Is that if they're going to make you just one of these
Yeah,
quick
a
and
little
easy
clip,
clips
yeah.
that just, whoop.
A clip-on mic is fab.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, I wear dresses that don't have pockets, and I don't wear suit trousers because I'm very tall and have very short blonde hair, and I look kind of mannish in a suit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need that. So I will wear a dress with no pockets. Just to annoy you, actually. There are loads of dresses with pockets, just don't
I
wear
knew
them.
it. I need it on purpose.
It's so, see, when I go to mic up a celebrant and they're like, oh, I've actually got pockets in this dress. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's
No.
amazing.
It's these little things that would be so much easier if we had equality of pockets.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
Rubbish pockets.
I heard that's like a...
It's a thing.
It is a thing
It is
in
a
the fashion industry.
We've
But
actually,
then no one can explain kilts and how men
You've
don't...
got like a big,
well, women have clutches.
I was going to say furry pocket, and that's just not what I wanted to say. I want to say sporran. That's what I meant.
Well, we're given a knife when we wear a kilt.
A little plastic knife.
Oh no, mine's real. Excuse
Yeah.
me, I'm a real man.
I think it all comes back to communication, which
Yeah.
you touched on, and we always, like, you always learn from a mistake, and then you're like, oh, I should have asked. Will this happen? Like, there was one humanist ceremony where they got everybody to stand for the vows,
Oh, you can't see what's going on.
which we weren't told about, and it
Yeah.
doesn't normally happen. So that was something that now, whenever I meet a celebrant in the morning, I'm like, oh, do you get them to stand at any point?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it all comes back to communication.
In fact, that also reminds me, be aware of where the video team are. Photographers generally don't have a lot of kit. They can move around pretty freely. Sometimes if there's a venue and we literally can only go one place and we can't move, and it's obviously you don't get the people to stand up. But if anyone out there is listening, if you get the people to stand up,
You can't see a thing.
we can't see and we can't move. So, yeah, just because there was one instant where I can't remember. It might have been a civil. I can't remember. But
It was a good few years ago, so it might
she
have
was
been.
she caught my eye, and she was about to ask everyone to stand up, but she obviously clocked that we couldn't move, so she asked everyone to stay sitting.
Got you.
Against her notes, and yeah, she said that at the end. She was like, "I saw you couldn't move," and I was like, "You know what? Thank you very much," because we would have been absolutely scuppered. Because we have rather small rooms in Scotland to
We do.
shoot.
And we shoehorn so many people into them
So
sometimes.
many.
Yeah.
So many people. It's so hot.
Yeah,
They
right.
never tell you that when you go into wedding training, just how
Yeah.
hot it's going to get inside these places.
Anything else? Anything else that we do? We always talk. We're very open-minded. I would, if you're doing an elopement or doing a wedding, be very open to suggestions from.
Oh, elopements. The only
Celebrants.
thing I get struggle with, elopements, is where to stand.
Yeah.
I never know where to go.
Yeah. So this is an interesting one. This is. I'm referring back to a wedding that we did where, was it a humanist society? It was, in fact. Balburney.
Right.
And I can't remember who it was. Bald guy with the beard.
Gary.
It might have been. I can't remember.
Gorgeous.
And
guy.
he was like, right, I'm going to put the couple here because you'll get great light. And I was like, all right, cool. Yeah. I didn't. I was at the back. Wasn't thinking. We were too busy miking people up and it was a bit of a rush. And what I realized was he was facing the light, but the window was over there and he had dragged them all into a dark corner, which is, it was fine. Like, we're very good to roll with punches, but if you're given a ceremony, it might be a good idea to, again, the communication, very important.
And I think with elopements, where to stand, because, as you say, it's just a small group of you, it's quite flexible. So some photographers want the celebrant in
because
there
they're part of the story.
to make
yeah.
it a sort
Yeah.
of, to make it a three sort of thing.
And they're not just standing on a hillside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then there is the other photographers who are like, no, I want just a shot of them two on their own reading their vows. So yeah,
Again, I suppose it's balance,
quite
isn't
flexible.
it? Because you want to be part of the ceremony, but I hate being in the shots all the time because it just feels so intrusive, especially in a little setting like that when you've just, it feels weird.
But you're part of it.
I know I'm part of it, but they're a bigger part of it. I suppose I just have
True.
to be a bit more comfortable about moving from one to the other.
Mm.
Yeah.
From a video point of view, because you're conducting the ceremony, you're speaking a lot, so we usually, even if you're off to the side and it's the couple on their own, we usually have a shot on you, as you've seen from the ones we've worked on.
Yeah.
Because if we're delivering the full ceremony, it would be weird to hear your voice for ages and not know who's speaking.
This random voice coming down from wherever.
The irony, yes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, from a video point of view, we always film you, whether it's with the couple or off to the side.
Yeah. And if you're a single shooter for film, be aware of that, because obviously you're probably going to want to get all 3 people in the shot if you've only got one camera. So yeah.
I quite like it when I get the mics put on for elopements, because I have to wear them for ages. Like, while we're waiting on people to arrive, and the amount of nonsense you can come out with, and it backfired horribly about 3 weeks ago.
You went to
Joe Donaldson.
You went to the
Liam.
toilet, didn't you?
No, God, that's my nightmare. I was out with Joe Donaldson and Liam came across and put a mic on me, and I was like, all right, that's fine. And I was singing songs down it, and I was telling rude jokes, and I was telling them, it was so wet that day that the water was pouring down my face, and my nose was running, and I was like, there's snorters everywhere. And then I went to give him the mics back, and he went, oh no, these aren't mine. And they were the groom's.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
That's interesting.
Did you instantly start racking your brain? Did I say anything
what have I
strange?
said? Have I said anything really cheeky? Which isn't unlike me, it must be said. I know you don't always listen to the first part of the video stuff. However, I like to think that sometimes you do, and there might be a wee nugget in there.
We're not going to listen to it, because usually there's quite a lot of audio. But if someone says, oh my God, you're not going to listen to that.
Yeah.
We say we're not, but now, because you've said that, we are of course going to listen to it.
Well, thankfully, Liam very kindly took the mics and dealt with it.
Do you want to talk about your process? Like how and why you do the ceremony structure that you do?
Sure. Well, first of all, when you're a humanist celebrant, it's a lot like a big iceberg. There's this very lovely bit on the top, and then underneath it is all the admin. That's what's underneath that lovely shiny bit where you're in front of people, making it look easy. And I think that's part of the key, is you have to make it look easy. And because of that, people think it is easy, and it's really not. There's a lot of getting to know people. There's a lot of talking to folk. And when we pull the ceremony together, we've spoken to them, we've met them twice, maybe 3 times. We've got all the framework for their wedding, what they want to have in it, their readings, their music. Live music brings so much to a wedding that, if that can be in there, that's tremendous. And then I go away and I set them this homework to do, and the homework's just a list of questions about each other. And it's not like, what's his favourite colour, or, what size shoes has he got? It's not that. It's like, how did you get together? Tell me what you thought when you first saw her. What are your hopes for your future together? What do you love most about her? Now, some of my colleagues go down the route of 3 things you love about each other. I keep it really vague. I just send me everything. Send me all. If I can't use all, that's fine, but I will take as much as I can get. And I am not frightened to send it back and say, your homework shit, do it again. Because sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Because sometimes boys can't find the words. But give them a bit of pressure, and they almost inevitably come up with something that's going to make people cry. And that's nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of that comes from the sort of questions that you've asked.
Yeah.
Because if someone said to me, write down your feelings, I'd be like, I don't know. I can't write that. But if there was questions, then you're sort of guided a bit more.
And also, I've formed a relationship with that couple by that point. They know me. They've picked me for a reason. They know that it's not going to be dead stuffy and formal. It's going to be quite relaxed. It's going to be fun. They might get the piss stripped out of them a little bit, and that's fine. I might ruin a best man speech. I have done that before.
Yeah.
But I don't care. I'm not there for that.
Well, to be fair, so does Gregg.
Oh, Gregg.
On one of our last weddings, it was only supposed to be the couple saying, like, thanks for coming. Like, just a small, intimate wedding, and they were just going to say thanks. But then I went to mic up the groom. That's good. Went to pop one of the wee audio recorders on the bride because she was going to say something. And she was like, oh, my dad's going to say something, and I think Scott, the best man, wants to as well. I was like, all right, okay, cool. I've got audio recorders. I'll get them. Don't worry. So I went and got her dad, and then the best man was chatting to the groom and somebody else. And I went over and I was like, oh, hey, Scott, can I just pop this mic on you to get your speech. And the groom was like, he's not doing a speech.
Oh, no.
And the best man just went, I might do one.
Oh, no.
And I just wanted the ground to swallow me up then.
Oh,
I was
no.
like, did I just ruin a surprise?
Yeah.
It's so easy done.
Yeah.
Because you're never necessarily in on the secret.
A wedding of 12 people, I think 15.
Oh,
And
12
God.
the funny thing is,
they kept on looking over and referencing that mistake.
And I had
Even
been
during
at
the
the groom
speech.
preps, and it was just the groom and his best man and me. So I had struck up a relationship with
no.
those two. And I was like, oh, if only he'd have said, by the way, Greg, I'm going to do a speech later on, but they don't know.
Oh, goodness.
But obviously he wouldn't have thought of that either. So it was funny.
Oh, man.
Yes. So you've ruined a speech.
Yeah, I've ruined speeches. But yeah, the homework's good. And
Yeah.
sometimes that creates a ceremony almost of its own making. I form it into a story. That's all I do. And other times it's a wee bit harder work. But we always get there in the end. There's always balance. We work really hard to have things flow properly. And there's a skill in that as well, that you're not just going, and now we're stopping for a reading. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. We're just going to stop. And someone's going to read, today is a day you will always remember. Finest of anyone's life. Or they will do some other reading and it's just dropped in. So yeah, I form the ceremony. That bit can take quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it's like though, when you're self-employed, you're distracted by other things too.
Absolutely.
And it
YouTube,
could be- yeah.
Netflix.
Children, I was going to say, but
Matthew
wherever
Kiss.
your priorities lie.
Yeah. I should have said my
Father
kids
3.
first. Oh my God. My wife? Oh my God.
But it's a very rewarding job. It's not, I don't think it's as easy as people think it is though.
No. I get the impression that there's this grandeur to being a wedding supplier that people outside the wedding industry think like, you're a photographer. Oh, there's money in that.
Yeah,
I'm
but
like,
you can
well,
only do so many.
Yeah, so you can really only so a lot of weekends are given up. Your social life goes out the window.
I don't mean to bring down the tone of this conversation, but being self-employed can be really difficult.
So reality of working in the wedding industry is there's a lot of sacrifice. You do kind of need to love being in this industry.
You do. You actually have to love to do it well. I think you have to really love weddings and all the stuff that goes round about it.
Yeah. Well, so you mentioned, obviously we've talked about elopements, and then what would you call the other type of ceremony? Indoor ceremonies? Traditional
wedding.
humanist? Just a normal wedding ceremony?
Yeah, elopements I tend to not call them weddings at all. They become an elopement. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
A really different feel to elopements, and you guys will know that as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot more work actually than you think as well from your perspective, I would imagine.
Yeah. It's definitely more work because we need to make sure that, there's like locations to go to and that the couple are wanting to go to these locations. And, if there's a hike, then we're going to be going for a hike with all of our camera equipment.
And in the build up to it, usually there's not much for us to do. Like we get to know our couples and stuff, but apart from that, it's just get ourselves ready. But with elopements, quite often you essentially become a wedding planner. Because likes of with Olivia and Preston, they asked us where they should do the ceremony. It's like, that's a lot of pressure.
Where are you going to get married? And then you're the witnesses as well, sometimes,
exactly.
which is a big responsibility.
That was nice, having that responsibility to sign.
Yeah. So there's a lot more work, but they always look awesome.
Yeah, and the payoff is pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, and you create an even more sort of closer relationship with them as well, because you are like the only ones there with them.
And
cool.
I think from a professional point of view that we share that little day as well. It becomes a wedding that we remember and we talk about, and it's it's a special thing. Victoria and Chris is a prime example of that because they just won't go away.
In the nicest way possible.
Love you, Victoria and Chris. I love you.
Well, it's nice to kind of make those relationships last because when did Chris turn 30? 30? 32? 31?
Yeah,
35?
Was it his 30th?
It's 30th?
I think he's older than that, actually.
He had a birthday.
He's young at heart. He doesn't look older.
He's a handsome young man.
He's beautiful.
But yes, they came up.
But yeah, they came up
again.
and then we met them for a meal and it was super nice.
And I met them for coffee.
Yeah.
And prior to that, I met Neil Thomas Douglas to lend him a tenner because he'd run out of money. So Swings and roundabouts, folks.
It has, because people are always nicking his stuff, like the whiskey there.
That's why you need friends in the wedding industry, so as they can meet you to give you money.
Yeah.
On
absolutely.
days that other people were in the office.
Doing normal jobs.
Normal jobs. Ugh.
What was your question about big weddings again? I can't remember what you said.
Well, is there a difference? Well, obviously, apart from the glaring obvious difference, that there's other like hundreds of guests, and like from your point of view, is there anything different?
I think elopements are a lot less predictable. Because you can turn up and you can suddenly be moving around a corner, or you're not standing where you thought you were, the rain's lashing down, or it's blazing hot sunshine. And they last longer because they never start on time. Because there's no pressure because your guests aren't arriving on time. But the feeling of them is very different. It's more like a conversation with an elopement because you're only talking in amongst a very small group of people.
Yeah.
So it's not that same pressure for me to perform and to make people laugh and to do all the things that I do in a big wedding. And that's quite a relief sometimes, just to have that chat and be part of it. That said, there is no better feeling than know you've rocked a massive wedding.
Yeah.
And you leave and you're just totally buzzing, and you've got that decompression in the car where you're like, oh, everyone else is going to a party. I'm going to go home and clean my bathroom. It's not the same.
But you're the rock star, though. You're the person who leaves and everyone's like, shit, where'd they go?
I know.
Oh my God.
I've had people chant, ditch the car, ditch the car. And you're like, you don't know how tempted I am. But then I would just be the drunken humanist in the corner. Yeah. That you'd be like, oh, I don't know what to say to her anymore. She's done my wedding. And she's still here. It's 3 days later. She's like, she smells funny. So.
Yeah, I can imagine you getting in that state for some reason.
Oh, no, but I never stay after weddings for that very reason, because I think I would be too giddy and excited. Yeah. And I would just worm my way onto the top table and just generally be a complete arsehole.
Yeah. Well, I think Greg and I would generally be the same as that if we were staying over, but there's too much to shoot. Everything happens at that very specific moment. There's like group shots and details are getting put out, and I gotta get ready for speeches. And
how long do you guys stay then? Do you stay right till the bitter end?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. Well, the first few dances, but usually it ends up being sort of when the buffet comes out. If there's like the band take a break and there's a buffet, so quite late.
First at the sausage rolls.
That's mainly why.
Yeah. Sometimes we'll leave early if there's already a sweetie table out. Oh. And I've demolished it, clearly.
So, because I take a big bag if I know there's a sweetie table.
I'm always the first at the sweetie table.
Like I'm all about, it's not the little things, it's not these things you spend all the money on, it's not the favours, it's not the seat covers, it is the sweetie tables.
It is the sweetie table.
They're everything to me. I love them. Yeah.
I know.
Not the Ferrero Rocher hearts, can't be doing with them, because they notice when they're missing. But like a big massive table full of pick and mix.
Yeah.
Easy pickings.
What's your favourite pick and mix?
Oh, I like raspberry ruffles if they've gone all out and they've got like a big jar of raspberry ruffles. They won't have a jar by the end of the ceremony because they'll all be in my bag. But I like an old fashioned like tablet macaroon.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yes, keeps you going on the way home.
Yeah, no, totally.
Well, thanks for coming on and
thank
being
you
our
for
first
having
guest.
me.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks,
sorry about the fire alarm.
No, just added to the excitement.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for the coffee.
Oh yes, you're welcome.
It was really tasty, even though we didn't have any milk.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
We did have coconut milk.
Coconut milk isn't milk.
Well, thank you for our dinosaur. Would you like to give him a name? Had you given him a name? I don't mean Diplodocus.
In honour of one of our shared friends, I was going to call it Nelly the dinosaur. Nelly. Then it'd be NTD. Like our
Nelly
pal
the
Neil.
Dinosaur, that's brilliant.
Nelly the dinosaur. Cool. Do we need to water this? What's the rules?
Well, yes, generally it's accepted that watering plants is a good idea. But if you just keep an eye on it and watch when it goes a little limp, show it some love. There's a good mantra.
What a great way to end the show there.
And on that note, we'll wrap things up.
Yes.
You've been listening to Perspective, a podcast for wedding creatives. If you've enjoyed the show, we would really appreciate it if you share it with a friend or subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. But until next time,
enjoy your life.